Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to our training for tonight. And if you can hear me, if you please put a Y in the question box, and I'll know you can hear me. And then we'll get started right away. We're going to be talking about ways that you can rebrand your PLR. Thank you, Joy. And I'll call this rebranding your PLR videos the right way. And this is our typically, I used to do training on Tuesday nights, but this is going to be kind of a special training for those of you who purchase PLR Set Up Masterclass. And so what is the goal of everything that you're doing when you buy PLR or what I call inventory? What are you trying to do with that inventory when you're looking to resell? And you're never just trying to make one sale, are you? What you're ultimately trying to do is you're trying to build some kind of sustainable income. That's really why we're online. That's really why we're building some kind of system in order to create income. We're looking to build a sustainable income. So we're not just looking to launch products. That's not the end of the goal. What the end of what we're trying to do is always going to be a sustainable income. And so that's really what we want to be able to use PLR to do. We want to extend it into something that becomes for us a sustainable income. And it's never just about passive. And you'll hear the word passive income used a lot. I think that that gives us all the wrong pictures in our brain because passive typically feels like what we're trying to do is we're trying to set it and forget it. We're trying to get something to the point where we know it's going to throw off income to us based on work that we did one time. And there's some truth to that, and there's some work in that, but we're really trying to do something that I think is a little more sustainable. And it's really going to give us the same kind of effect. It's going to give us what we're trying to do in the same goal. So I don't like using the word passive. And so I'd rather you not use that term or that thought process either, passive income, because we don't want to be passive about generating an income. What we want to do is we want to put in some level of work. And we want that level of work to do is we want it to give us income, and we want that level to increase over time with the same level of work, right? That's what we're really trying to do. So that's really different, a little different than passive. If we want to try to get technical, is if if you're putting in, let's say 10 hours and you're throwing in income, what we want that 10 hours to do next year, so we want it to give us twice as much income. And so we want it to be progressive. We want it to build on itself when we do it. It's about sustainable. So whatever sustainable means for you, whatever, if it means that you're trying to create, an additional 5 grand, and you want that 5 grand to do something for you that 5 grand cannot. For some people, 5 grand is just enough to put into a retirement fund in addition to what you're doing. And you may not have but 20 hours a month to put into your online business. That's fine. $5,000 is sustainable income. You may be starting at zero and you're trying to get to a six-figure income because that's sustainable for you. That means then that you can leave what you're doing and you can solely work online. So whatever sustainable is, once you define it, you will then be able to start working toward what PLR can do for you and how you're going to rebrand it, how it's going to work for you. So it's always going to take work to get to the point where it pays you. So in other words, it's never going to be something that you're just going to send out a couple of emails and it's just automatically going to start rolling in just because you bought a PLR product or because even you made an offer. It takes work to get to the point where you're going to send someone to a sales page and then they're going to say, yes, I want it, and then they're going to buy it. It takes work to get to that point. In information marketing, and you may hear the term, now if you're new to me, I don't use the term internet marketing. I use the term information marketing, just so you'll know. So you say, well, what is information marketing? Information marketing is the same thing you might call internet marketing. That's what other people call it. I prefer to call it information marketing because that's exactly what we are doing. We are marketing information. And so basically, when we are as information marketers, here's what some people do. And this is the business model that you may be operating under, even though you may not realize it, if you're trying to get to the point where you're trying to launch a product and have it give you lots of money back in one shot. That is a launch model. And some people prefer in order to build their income in that way. So in other words, some people would prefer to do one big launch, make 10,000, and then do another launch when they're ready, right? That could be the way that they do it. And so you've really got a situation where it's more like, how many of you all have seen the movie Ocean's 11? It's not a good example because they were thieves, but it is kind of where you get the picture, right? So Ocean's 11, it takes months, right, for the buildup, and it takes them months to set up the con, right? And all of a sudden, then there's this big payday at the end. Well, all of those months that they spent, they didn't make anything, right? Nothing was coming in all of those months. And in many of the movies, in fact, they kind of ran into a cash flow shortfall, right? So basically, what people are typically operating under is, I'm going to do one big launch, it's going to pay me, and then I'm going to do another launch when I can, and I'm going to work between launches. I'm going to live on that between launches, save some, and do whatever else. And so if you're a good networker and you can get good at affiliate recruiting, you can then live on this kind of business model, right? That is the traditional make money online business opportunity launch model. You are trying to build a network. You're going to get people to send their visitors to your site. You're going to make some, you're going to pay your affiliate some, and then you're going to have a big cash flow that you can sit on top of, right? That's the traditional launch model. It's semi-passive, right? Because you're building your list in big chunks, right? So you do a launch, you get big chunks into your list. And you send those people affiliate offers between, right, your launches. So in other words, and you'll see this, right? You're probably on a number of people's lists. They'll do one big launch, and then you end up on their list, and then they send you affiliate offers, right? And so that's typically why someone's going to send you a lot of affiliate offers, because it's going to be a while before the next Ocean's 11, right? Because so what do they do between Ocean's 11? Well, they send you to affiliate offers, and what that does is that gives people income, and that's just the way this industry operates. But that's why it operates in the way that it does. Now, here's what I will tell you, and what I'd like to get to tonight. Other people prefer a sustainable income, what I call, right? Something that's regular, something that comes in and pays you on a regular basis, even if what you're doing is you're putting in work, let's say every single day, but that work is sort of paying you and it's building on itself and it's growing. So it grows in the very same way, right? It grows so that, over time, 10 hours today is not going to be the same 10 hours that you put in, let's say next year, because the same 10 hours you put in next year is going to pay you more just because of the work you're going to be putting in. I'll tell you what that work's going to be here in a minute. What I'm talking about and what we try to teach is a sustainable income. Now, again, I'm not opposed to the launch model. And I've lived between launches. I think back in 2015, I worked on a big software launch where I was kind of a sixth person, and it really, I mean, it's exciting, right? It's a great way to live. What I tend to like to teach, and what the people who tend to be our ultimate insiders and the people who tend to buy our PLR, people who get PLR tend to want to learn how to do a sustainable income. So just as a show of hands, right? So I'm the only one that can see your answers. If you would just write into the question box, or either write in sustainable if that's what you're more toward, or if you're more like launch. So just put in either sustainable launch to the question box. That's just so I'll know, what it is that you're trying to get. If you're really looking to try to build a sustainable income, write in sustainable. If you like to have it come in big chunks and live between those big chunks, write in launch to the question box. Okay, so let's talk about how you take and you build a sustainable income, right? I do something on Thursday nights that we call Extreme Business Makeover, and it is basically how you're going to build a content model. You're not going to be redoing a lot of videos. Now, in the PLR Setup Masterclass, one of the things I taught you how to do is to redo PLR in your own voice so that it will sound like you and so that you can have the authority based on that. I always typically recommend people don't do that, right? Now, I taught that because people have been asking me to teach that. I don't recommend you do that. I don't recommend you teach your customers to do that. What I believe you should be doing is Extreme Business Makeover. I'll tell you what that is. In order to take your business, your online business, whatever it is, whatever you are selling, whatever your online business is doing, you want to go into your sub market and your niche as an educator. Whatever your chosen sub niche is going to be, position yourself as an educator. You don't have to position yourself as an expert. You don't have to do that. What you have to do is go in and decide that what you're going to do is you're going to be a teacher. You're going to be a reliable source of information. And so anytime you go in, you don't have to go in trying to say you know the most. You don't have to go in and say that you're the best. You don't even have to go in and say you're first. What you're going to say is, I'm coming in to be reliable. And so you start where you are. You start in the niche where you are. It doesn't matter if you're the last person in the niche. You're going to teach reliable information to the people that come to you. So how are you going to do that? Well, you're going to do a weekly workshop. So again, I'm talking about what you're going to do instead of, right, instead of the launch model, instead of, and this is how you're going to rebrand your PLR, the right way. You're going to build an actual brand. And it doesn't take years. It doesn't take lots of, millions of dollars to build an effective brand. It's going to take these steps I'm going to be teaching you. You're going to first position yourself as an educator in your chosen sub niche. Some people say you're going to be a leader, right? So you're basically taking the lead in your market and you're saying, I'm going to educate people on the things they need to do in order to be successful in this sub niche. You're going to do that by doing a weekly workshop. And I suggest you do 30 minutes. And it doesn't really matter on what you start teaching on. It just matters that you do it every single week. So you show up every single whatever, Thursday, Friday, Monday, whatever it is, whatever your day is, show up every week and teach something to your market that you know how to teach. Now, that almost begs the question, yeah, you got to always be learning, but you should be doing that anyway. But most people don't do it unless they have to. And one of the ways you're going to keep learning, and you're going to learn the things you have to, start teaching. Right? If you commit to teaching on a regular basis, you'll start learning the things you got to learn. And if you don't want to teach live, I was talking to one of our Ultimate Insiders that I did an onboarding call with today. And I really enjoy those things because I get a chance to know the Ultimate Insiders really well as they're coming in. And what we talked about was the fact that one of the ways that you can do a weekly workshop, if you're not comfortable with the way you teach live, you don't want to be on live and you don't want to, you don't want to present live the way I'm doing right now. Pre-record the session, right? Pre-record the session and put it on the webinar platform. I think I covered this in Webinar Marketing Playbook. I also covered it in the Online Course Builder Playbook. Basically, what you can do is you can pre-record the session and you could run it inside of the webinar platform as if it is live. You don't have to try to tell people it's live, but you can run it as if it is live. So if you don't want to present live, you don't want to do what I'm doing right now, just pre-record it. Now, in the PLR Set Up Masterclass, I did not present to you an offer for our live DFY Masterclass. Typically, in all of our PLR, what I do is the upsell or the upgrade is always going to be a live DFY Masterclass. Here's why I do that, so that you can use it as a weekly workshop. And if you don't want to do it, you can use mine and just run it as a premiere video on YouTube with live chat. So basically, you tell the people that you're going to be on live. You put our webinar content in there, right? Now, and then you run it as a premiere video, and then you answer questions live in the chat. So that way, you don't have to even do the webinar. You don't have to teach live. I've already done the teaching for you, right? But you can do a weekly workshop. That is how you position yourself as an educator. You then build a product snowball, right? So every time you do a new workshop, present a new offer, launch a new product. So how are you going to do that? Well, this is what you're going to do with your PLR offer. You're going to host it and put it up for sale, right? You put that PLR up for sale, and every single week you make an offer. Do a workshop, make an offer. Do a workshop, make an offer. Do a workshop, make an offer. The upsell, and I'm going to tell you in a minute what the upsell is going to be, so don't worry about that. Right? Do a workshop, make an offer. Do a workshop, make an offer, right? Every single week. You keep teaching on a new subject. You keep trying to find out what people want to learn, and you keep doing a new weekly workshop, and you keep presenting a new offer. Most, if not all of you on this call, and I'm just going to bet, even if you're watching by archive, I'm going to make an assumption. You probably have enough PLR offers right now on your hard drive that you could probably make a new offer every single week for the rest of this calendar year. I'd be willing to bet you. Right now, if that's not the case, please tell me. right? But I bet most of you have, they're about 30 more, they're probably about 30 more weeks in the year. You could probably do a weekly webinar, right? Where you do the training, and at the end of every webinar, you make an offer, right? You make a pitch. You say, hey, I've got something going on. Here's what you need to buy. You can do that. So don't feel like a weekly product launch is a lot. If you've got PLR, it's not. All you've got to do is put that PLR up for sale. You're going to use the traffic that you get to your workshop, and you're going to make an offer. If nobody buys this week, don't worry about it, because you're going to make another offer next week. Weekly workshop, product Snowball. Develop a strategic marketing framework. These are the building blocks of marketing. So you don't have to be a great marketer. There are those of us, I'm not even sure that I'm all that great of a marketer. One of the things I do, though, is I understand these fundamental concepts, right? I'm going to tell you what those 4 fundamental concepts are. If you understand the 4 fundamental concepts that I'm going to teach you, and I've actually taught this in Strategic Marketing Playbook, PLR, but here are the 4 concepts. Number 1, everything you do should have a USP, right? Unique selling proposition. Number 2, always be upselling and cross-selling. So everything you do should have an upsell and cross-sell. Because, if you get one customer can buy 3 products, and they can make it worth your while. So always be upselling or cross-selling. Number 3, be building your list and everything. So everything you do online should be a list building operation. Everything you do. If you hand out a business card, right? You should be doing something to build your list. If you write a Kindle book, be doing something to build your list. If you agree to go in and teach somebody, you should be building your list. Turn every opportunity into a list building, turn everything you do into a list building opportunity. And then number 4, strategic alliances. Very important. Very important to build strategic alliances. You should always be looking for a new partner. You should always be looking for a new affiliate. And when you get the opportunity to work with someone as an affiliate, you might need to make some accommodations, right? And you got to determine whether or not that accommodation is going to be worth it. But the more people that you have that are willing to promote for you, you need to take advantage of building that kind of relationship with those kinds of people. Always be building strategic alliances, relationships with people that will eventually promote for you. Now, you may have to go first. You may have to promote for them. You may have to interview them on your podcast. You may have to bring them in front of your audience first. That's fine. What does it care? What do you care? What do you care if you went first and you brought them to your audience first? You can then go to them and say, hey, I've got something new. Can you bring this before your audience, and I'll give you an affiliate commission, right? So what are those 4 things again? Unique selling proposition, number 1, right? Strategic marketing framework, unique selling proposition. Number 2, upsell and cross-sell. Number 3, strategic alliances. And number 4, always be building your list. Always be building your list. Number 5, create a content factory. Building a unique perspective from where you launch your products, right? Everything you do should come from a unique position. And everything you produce should look like something else you produce, but it should be unique from everybody else, right? Produce something, and I wish I could say that I thought of this myself. Just this week, I think it was Ben Settle, who to whom I purchase and buy coaching from. He actually taught this very principle again this week, but it's one of those things he emphasizes, and I re-emphasize to you. You should be doing something that's unique to the marketplace, but that always looks like you. So be consistent, but be unique. Create a content factory. Build a massive network. What are we doing? We are always building and growing our list of affiliates and people that can promote for us. So if you've got to go to an event, go to an event. If you've got to, sometimes, you've got to buy your way into, a network. Sometimes you promote for people that, you think, well, man, they never promote for me. I was just talking to a friend of mine, I think today, and they were saying that they've been promoting for some people for years, and it wasn't until 3 years later that those very same people promoted for them, and she thought it was personal, right? And it wasn't. And it was a very good lesson to me, because listen, sometimes you do a lot of things for people that you just do them for a long time, and you think, well, man, why won't they reciprocate? Why won't they do this for me? And rarely ever is it personal. Sometimes people just come around when they come around when they feel like you can make them money. So always be building your network of people that can promote for you. Become a media mogul. Master one form of traffic. Right? If you're going to rebrand your PLR and you're going to get people to come to what you have uniquely, it's less about what you put on the sales page. It's less about what you do for the graphics. It's more about what you're going to do in these steps I am teaching you. Become a media mogul. Master one form of traffic. If you are going to do YouTube, please get off Facebook, get off LinkedIn, get off IG, right? Stop goofing off on those other sites and master YouTube. If you're going to master YouTube, if you're going to master Facebook traffic, go buy every course you can on Facebook traffic and get off of those other networks. Stop messing around with all these other things. Stop buying stuff. Spend all your money on how to get or go buy the very best course there is. Right? If you've got to go without, maybe you got to go without a tank of gas for a couple of months. I'm just kidding. Maybe you got to go without some stuff for a month so you can pay for that $997 course or $1,997 course, so you can learn how to do the form of traffic that you want to master. Right? Get your attention focused on one form of traffic and master it. And forsake all others. It's a little bit like getting married. Forsake all others. Then get into production mode. This is very important because some of this is going to be, you got to figure out how to make all this work on a regular basis. This is what I mean about the difference between sustainable and passive. Because if you do a launch, hey, you can take off between launches, right? You can go to the beach, you can go. I mean, you made 10,000, in a weekend, but then now, you've got to do that same build up for the next thing. But listen, between there, you can take some time off. But if you're going to build a sustainable income, you've got to get these things rolling so they're coming in for you on a regular basis. And you know what the benefit of this is? You can start scheduling your time at the beach. You can start scheduling your time off. And you can start scheduling some things based on the fact that you've got some money coming in on a regular basis. Right? You don't have to worry about whether or not that next launch is going to be as big as the last one. Right? You're not stressed about that because you are building a customer base. You are building a client base. You're not running them off by sending them to affiliate offers, right? I'll just tell you, and I've seen this my own self. During those periods of time when I'm just going to be doing all affiliate offers. Now I'm not saying I do some, right? I do a lot of them, but when that's all I do, right, my list shrinks. And I can understand why. I get off of people's list if that's all they're going to do is send affiliate links. That has nothing to do with it's just that you just get tired of them and you want to run your list off. You want to wear them out. Just if you live on a launch model, that can happen because all you're doing is you are just sending them to affiliate offers because you don't have anything going on. When you get into production mode and you have something regular that you have going on, well, people then figure they can stick with you. Listen, if all you're going to do is send people to the affiliate offers, you may not even have the best bonus. I can go anywhere to get that. I don't have to stay subscribed to you. I can go elsewhere to get it, right? So get into production mode so you're producing your stuff on a regular basis. Build a learning center, very important, because this is what you're going to do with your PLR. You're going to put it in one place and you're going to make one offer. This is what your upsell is going to be. Your upsell is going to be, you're going to make an offer to the front end. Some people are going to buy it. What you're then going to do is your upsell and say, hey, would you like to get everything I've got? Right? And I add something that I add to on a regular basis. And you're basically going to give them access to your membership area. And what your membership area is going to have in it. It's going to have all your stuff in it. It's going to have all your content in it. And instead of focusing on branding the graphics, instead of focusing on branding or changing everything over in your own voice, you're going to focus on branding your member area. So basically, you are going to spend your time marketing and you are going to brand your member area. That's what a learning center is. It's a learning center, and I just call it a learning center. It's a membership. It's a place where people can come and get everything. And the key to having a good learning center is the organizing principle. You organize everything so that your people can get success. It doesn't have to look like anybody else's member area. Indeed, it should not. Right? Your learning center should be a place where I can come and get everything. Create a community around your ideas. This may be a longer term thing, right? But basically, and I'm gonna just say this, and you don't have to believe me. I think you should be building something apart from Facebook. I think you should be building something apart from all these social media networks. Because if you don't, the minute they decide they don't like what you do, they're just going to say, you're going to, we don't want you on here for 30 days. Or, we don't like your content. We don't like what you said. We don't like any of this stuff. We don't like all that. Right. And it happens to people at random. Right. Nobody can ever tell what they did. And, I know a lot of people think it's all because of politics. It's not all the time. I know a guy that seems like every 60 days, right? All he does is talk about marketing. And they will just pitch him in the jail, the Facebook jail, every 60 or 90 days for 30 days. You can't afford to build your business around that stuff. You can't afford to depend on that stuff. Right? I don't care. And listen, the only reason that people try to build on these platforms is because it's free. That's the only reason, and because the people are there. Right? And most people are there on these social networks because they're bored. They're not there because you're looking for business. And so you've got to be thinking about this, as you start to build out your business. Raise and build an affiliate army. What you're basically doing is you are basically turning your customers into affiliates, right? And then you're going to be defining and promoting your core ideas, right? That's basically what you are doing. So as you start to develop what it is you're doing in your sub market and your sub niche, you start to define and promote your core ideas. Now, here's what I'll tell you. These 12 things are my core ideas. I believe in all 12 of these things. This is what I teach. I teach these things on Thursday nights. If you put me in front of an audience, this is what I teach. If I didn't have to teach on the internet, if I had to go teach in my local area, this is what I would teach. These are my core principles. They're my core ideas. So here's my question to you. What are your core principles? What are your core ideas? If you're a weight loss coach, what are your core principles? You need to define them. You need to be known by them. You need to write them in books. You need to create products around them, and you need to define and promote your core ideas. Right? That's what a core idea is. Is something that you will define and promote. Okay. Now that's the session. Any questions? Any questions? I want to show you the Ultimate Insiders Learning Center. I just talked about Learning Center for a second, and I do want to show you this before I go. I try to get you out of here in 30 minutes. And most of you have already purchased the PLR Set Up Masterclass. And so pretty much, when there is a particular, this is one of the product areas, right? And so inside of the course, what we're basically doing here is, let me open up the product here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just upload one of the videos. So here are the 10 videos. And so I just saved one so you'll see how I would do it. We're going to add a post here. I'm just going to put the title to the last video, which is, I think it was Making Connections, right? So this is what we would do. Save the title, go here into the course, going to upload a video. This is going to be video 10 from the course. So if you're already inside of the course, you've probably seen this already. So we're going to upload video 10. It's going to upload there. And then I'm going to put a thumbnail in here. Now this is going to be the member area I'm going to make available to all of our Ultimate Insiders, right? So basically this is so that everybody who is an Ultimate Insider will be able to build their own learning center, right? So then there's the course. Go back here. And then this is what it will look like, right? So So to a customer, right, this is what it looked like, and the customer will then be able to use it. Right, so this is basically what our learning center is going to look like for Ultimate Insiders. Basically, what we're doing here is, the person, your customer, would have a course in the library, right? They'd be able to go into the course and watch the videos. We do obviously, the platform hosts the video. And no, I don't operate the platform. I don't want to be in the membership site business. So obviously, this is something that I could say that I outsource. And you might even recognize a platform. It doesn't matter. I provide this as a service to Ultimate Insiders so they can put their courses here in order to sell. So you can upload your videos here and then sell your courses, right? Okay, right now there's some other things to the platform I will show you here at another time, but that briefly is the new membership platform that I'm going to be releasing to Ultimate Insiders in the next 2 weeks. All right, so any other questions? Any other questions? Okay, so to become an Ultimate Insider, you can do that at the plrshow.com/insiders. If you want to join our Thursday night sessions, I'm on session 40, right? So those 12 principles that I just showed you, they're part of our 12 principle set, and we're on session 40. They're going to be 52. I'm going to do an entire week, entire year, and then I'm going to give you PLR rights to the entire year. Right, so you can do that at the plrshow.com/TNMW combo. You can pick that up there. And if this has been helpful to you in any way, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. Go to the plrshow.com/shout and just give us a shout out. And as you can see, we do use these, when people find our training helpful, we use those testimonials on our sales pages and in our training, and we try to let people know that people are getting value out of what we're doing. All right, so any other questions? I think I got you out of here in 30 minutes, which is always my goal. So any questions? Okay, everybody. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Joy. Appreciate that. Have a great night and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.